Hello and welcome to episode 162 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. It's James and Jack here for you this week to talk you through everything Sheffield Wednesday as this relegation battle carries on in full swing. But we will start, as we always do, Jack. How has your week been, my friend?
It's been okay, really. Just nothing too eventful. A lot of people have said that I should shave to a 80s American cop stash, and it might suit me. And I thought, you know what? I've not got really anything on the go with women, and I'm not bothered at the moment. So I'm sporting the Tom Selleck Magnum PI Classic at the moment.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I actually kind of like it. I don't really care what people think about it.
I've done the thing that, like, I'm sort of growing my beard a little bit, not really intentionally. It's more of a case of my clipper thing, the shaver thing died. So I was like, and then it got a bit long, and then I was like, what if I actually look after it and like comb it and condition it again like I used to, and that sort of beard conditioner. I'm not like getting hair conditioner or something, and that sort of thing, and do that and see if it actually looks all right now. And I'm not convinced it does, but we are giving it a go because I don't care. It's not like I'm not shooting for anything at the minute. I'm not really doing anything that wouldn't. It's not boiling hot yet. If it gets boiling hot, it's coming straight off. But I've also grown the beard out for a little bit for audio listeners, and we're giving it a go. My hair is also up, not because I feel like I needed my hair up, but because now I'm on a day where if I'm not going to work, I will do some light impact exercise sort of thing to try and keep everything healthy. So after this, I've got to do some very light impact. So between the fridge and the door opening, that sort of thing, and sitting up and down, I said, I might do some sit-ups. And Soph went, what, sitting up from your armchair? And I went, thanks. That's great. Because you know those
video watchers will be able to see the absolute mountain of crap foam panels that I had on my ceiling that were doing absolutely sod all. And I've basically ripped them all down because I'm looking at getting some actual proper like acoustic stuff on my wooden ceiling at some point in the near future.
Grab one and show me.
Because I've seen.
Grab one and show me if you can.
Oh, yes, it's one of those.
Are you binning
one of those? I mean, I've got cardboard glued to the back of them.
No, but I say, are you binning them?
I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know what to do with them. If you're not,
and you're gonna, you can chuck them my way, and I'll just line this wall with them. Because the thing is, like, I'm not gonna be in this space forever. But I could do with lining that wall with foam, basically, just so when the sound hits it. So if you are gonna bin them, I'll take them off your hands, basically.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Just because, like, it's just a case of, like, this room, I'm not we're obviously renting as well, so I'm not going to be drilling things in and stuff like that, but I can just tack that to the wall, all along that one wall, and then...
I'd attached them with, like, you can buy on Amazon as well, those little, like, they're like Velcro pads, but they're meant to stick, pictures up. And I've used a load of those and obviously ripping them down, and I've now got loads of little, like, marks where the paint has been ripped off and it just looks really funny. There's just loads of little random scuffed rectangles all over my ceiling now, which is quite funny. But
well, that's the thing. To be fair, like, there's nails in the wall and everything. We could do all of that, but it's it's also a case of I know that neighbours have got a bathroom on the side, I believe. So I don't want to like do that anyway. So I'd rather just tack. There is a couple.
You just accidentally create a peephole into their shower and then get done for like voyeurism or something.
Jack.
Jeez.
No, Jack. But no, yeah, it's how did we get on? My brain.
I just saw it in the background of my shot on the OBS or whatever. So it just made me think of that. I thought that's an interesting thing. I don't know, but there's a Danish company that do really good quality like acoustic panel-y stuff that you have to like drill to attach. And
to be honest, you want to build a false wall if you're doing it properly. We don't have space in there. but like when we buy either a garage or whatever or wherever, I'm going to build a false wall or false walls.
Yeah.
If you build them on hinges as well, you can actually have them. And they're good for you're doing an actual recording.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's, to be honest, equipment's got so good. You can you don't need everything to be acoustically perfect. Have you ever been in a dead chamber? Like where there's no reflections whatsoever?
Yeah, once, and it's really weird. It's really weird.
It really is. There's no. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then there's like
your voice.
I just feel like there's a weird sense of like claustrophobia almost as well, because your voice isn't traveling anywhere. It's just it sits right in front of your mouth, and that's it. Yeah. That's all. It's weird. I don't like it, but it's also really annoying at the moment because there's so many wooden like surfaces everywhere at the moment in here that it's quite like reverby, and I don't like it. And obviously, I can't have it like that.
Well, I appreciate that you're putting your microphone in front of your mouth, because that's the thing. It's like when you have it in streaming setup, it's if I pull the audio,
picks this bloody thing up, so it's like all the time in the background.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And every time you speak, you can just hear it, because the gate's obviously cutting it when you're not. And then I'm like, why? I sent to Jack, and he was like, well, I didn't notice. And I was like, trust me, just put the microphone in front of your mouth.
When you then put more edits, like more filters, or I don't know, I've forgotten the term, but when you put more like layers of sound editing on top of it, then it all comes out, doesn't it? I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much just to make sure we're all balanced and we've all got that depth and that radio pop.
Oh, yes.
I said that in inverted commas sort of thing. But to get that, it means I have to bring the EQ up at certain points, which means your computer basically just got picked up on every single thing, which was fun. But no, I'll just do a quick plug for, look how nice I am. Jake is taking the stream tomorrow, so I won't be doing Dexterity Watch. I'm going to have a night off, so go over to Jake's channel, PunkChef41, to stream along with him. I'm sure you'll all be there. I'm sure he's smashing it at the minute on YouTube, that lad. So go and support him. That would be very good. We've also got a lot of end of season plans going. We're going to be changing the scheduling of Talking Wednesday slightly, and you will just see that unfold before your eyes. It's for a positive, actually, rather than a negative. I've been making content for my actual channel this week, so
I've even made a video
soon as well.
Sorry to be self-pluggy, but I've actually made a video, and it's basically all about trying to help people that are going through losing somebody, because I've got through it, kind of thing. And I just thought,
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched it purely because when I saw the title, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this right now because it's probably sad.
Watch that and like cuddle Soph while watching it. I don't know. Like it, because loads of people have watched it and have been like, you son of a gun. I ugly cried with snot and everything thanks to this video. So that's nice. I mean, a few people have kind of actually said, and not to be like aggro, drama alert, whatever, but a few people that I've known for years have actually said, oh, are you still complaining about that? You're still going on about this. It's 5 years on. It's about time you moved on. And they don't seem to understand that I have moved on. The fact that I've made this video actually shows that I've moved on, because the whole point of the thing is to try and help other people get going through it.
You see, the proper way to banter you there, Jack, is not be an arse like that. It's to say something like I'm going to say, and hopefully you take this in the right way.
Yeah.
Look at you now weaponizing your grief for views. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to have to cut that word out, actually, aren't I? I've just realised what minute are we on?
We're on 10 minutes. Just about 10 minutes.
There we go.
But yeah, some people that I went to school with have said that to me, and that's not nice.
No, mate, I'm sure I am going to watch it because I do want to see your projects and things like that. But I think it might have even come out while I was still away, so I was sort of like, no, I'm not.
Oh, I think it did. Yeah, it was Friday. So
yes.
Yes.
Well, no, I know you haven't asked me how my week was, but I'm going into that anyway.
I was literally about to say, how's your week been?
Obviously making some content when we've been back, but I was also, I went away to see my friend from uni, been on the channel. Well, me and him started basically doing videos on this channel back in 2016. Yeah, I know. I didn't really upload. Me and him just used to do that, and we'd go on Twitch and do streams like that. But he lives by the coast, so we go there. We try and see each other a few times a year. I think we're pretty good, actually, to say we live a couple of hours away from each other, sort of thing. We make sure we have a few like 4-day stints, like 3 to 4 times a year, which I think for adult friendships is not bad at all, really.
Oh yeah, not bad at all.
So yeah, it's good to see. Always good to see him. And obviously, my birthday's coming up next month, so we will be doing something again. Then we're just trying to work out what. That's a good point. Do I bring you? So I always go on a little trip for my birthday.
Oh yeah,
because I am so busy. I always just take a few days and just go off. Do I bring Jack?
Ooh, put it in the comments. Do a poll. Do a poll at the community tab.
Don't know if I'm ready for that because I do get quite drunk, and I've never been drunk around you.
Oh yeah, true. We had a beer. We had the one beer or whatever at that hotel.
Yes, but we
was stupidly
didn't have
expensive.
The many
but
like
we didn't know.
I tend to make like cocktails and stuff in big like cola bottles and stuff like that, and just have like 3 of those on the table, and that'll be the one night for people, and then sort of that's the birthday. It's usually by May. Like last year, it was quite summery, so we were like, let's have all these cocktails. That was nice.
Oh yes,
yes, I drink cocktails. Get over it.
So, I mean, so do I. I love a mojito. So
I actually find the ones that got a lot of juice in
them. That's fine.
A lot of the ones that got a lot of juice. I hate that word. But the ones that have got a lot of fruit juice in them actually don't. They're so good, like in terms of like flushing your system, that you don't get as hungover.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Love a juicy cocktail. Oh.
Go, Jack. Should we go into the football talk?
Yeah, let's go to the football talk, shall we?
So Sheffield Wednesday played QPR at the weekend. Talk me through this one, Jack.
It was a very boring game, very, very scrappy. And I was sort of actually going through it thinking, it's going to be a 0-0 here. It didn't look like anyone was going to score. And then lo and behold, Gassama, who came on actually in like the 30-something minute because Poveda went off, sadly, with what looks like it's going to be a long-term injury. It seems like, I think he did his, it looks like his hamstring's gone.
It's not ideal.
And that was kind of not in the plan. But Gassama comes on and then absolutely just plays out of his skin the whole game. And then obviously we get to the 59th minute. And
let's hang on. You've missed one thing.
We have.
And when I use the word miss before the goal.
Oh, well, look, I didn't want to. Sorry, I've just seen the document note that you put there above the match thing. So that's made me laugh. But yeah, Josh Windass missed from a yard out, and it was quite. It was
a spectacular miss.
It's like you almost question whether he did it on purpose, because how can anyone miss from like point blank range?
I'd find a way,
and
he's a professional footballer.
It was baffling, and
it was coming in at pace. But honestly, it was more of a case of like if you'd think of that, I'd have just bounced off him. It had gone in, because there was so much of the goal open in front of him, and that was why it was harder to believe. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, and it was just, I couldn't believe. I can't put it into words now. Really, how. It was almost like he was going to kick it, and then he thought, oh no, crap, I better actually do a diving header. Oh no, crap, I'm too near it now. I need to kick it. And then he slipped up on the pitch. And it was, I just couldn't, I have no idea how he's missed that, frankly. I mean, yes, he's been out for a while. But since Boxing Day, actually. That's the last time he played for us, which was mental. But
yeah, which is why you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt as well.
Oh, yeah. But I'm sure he won't want
I'm
to
sure
be
he was looking at
this.
that miss going, Jesus Christ. You know?
Yeah. Like, I'm sure he won't want to be reminded about this. So if he does actually end up listening or watching, then he will thank us greatly for bringing it up. But I'm sure he would have seen it a lot in after the fact anyway, with how Danny likes to do things, all the video analysis and all that stuff in meetings and all that business. But how do you miss? I don't even play football and I would have got that in. How do you miss from
the
a
reason
yard
I didn't
out?
say that is because I know how hard football actually is, but it's the old saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyone could have scored that, but sort of thing is, the good thing is, and the good thing for him is it wasn't crucial in the end because it could have been because QPR had a couple of good chances. They hit the bar a couple of times and then Gassama we talk about the skill to move past there. He just moved past them like they didn't even know. I think a lot of people forget Gassama is our player.
Yeah.
He's actually our signing and he's not on, I don't believe he's on a 1-year deal. He's got a couple of years.
He's got a couple of years, possibly. Yeah. I think he's like 2026 or something. Don't quote me on that. But I think according to Transfermarkt, that a lot of this information comes from that's in the public domain. I think it's the 2026 finish to his contract.
And if that is true, we've got a player there that will develop with us. And it's the way he walked past the team, like he just danced past them. Yeah. And then obviously scores.
Did you see that fan footage that was from the QPR stand that was on Twitter?
I did. Yeah.
And it was like, how the F have you let him past? How have you let him past there? And it's like, well, if you actually watch him, he doesn't get let past. He skins them. He skins about 3 of them. And everyone's also blasted him for a good luck goal. But if he didn't work that hard and he didn't keep up that level of determination to get through on goal, there was no luck involved. Like, the luck wouldn't have happened.
The angles are quite difficult on it. It's like it is sort of rebounded off, isn't it? And it comes back to him and then he dinks it in scrappily. Yeah. But he got into that space. He got the ball into that position. He dragged it all the way down that right-hand side and danced it into the box past the defenders. So for him to be able to do that, it's encouraging, especially because QPR are scrapping for it because they know they're not out of danger. No one's out of danger down there.
Exactly.
So they wanted that. And then it was that tense moment, wasn't it? You're getting through the game and then you think, are we going to do it here? Are we going to concede? But Masaba, you talk about misses. Like he hit that so high into the roof of the net that I was like, you could have missed that. It was a brilliant finish.
Only just gone into the roof of the net from just behind the crossbar, didn't it? And I see that you liked what I said, by the way, in my goal announcement on the day when it was a pretty much stock like sweaty goal pass across the face of the net. It was a proper sweaty goal, and I just remember your earlier like FIFA career mode because yes, they did exist. He did used to upload them once in a blue moon ago. You often did remark on liking to score sweaty goals back in the day, and so I thought this is absolutely Dex would have loved this. So I just thought, that was my first thought. How do you feel, Dex? You were my first thought when I was composing that tweet. It was like
I appreciated it.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you back on the Twitter as well without us even asking. Yeah. I'm like, look at this guy.
I know.
This guy running the Twitter.
And it was actually quite even because it was 50% possession for both teams. So it was quite an even, scrappy game. Ironically,
they had more shots than us, but they just weren't clinical.
More shots. Had double the amount of shots almost. And although we were a lot more... It feels weird saying that we were more clinical because we've not been more clinical all season, pretty much.
Yeah, and we weren't necessarily clinical. We just were more clinical than QPR on the day.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's encouraging signs. It's that win that you need. You saw Danny Rull at the end. You saw the team. You saw the players. Like that togetherness of going through there. I think it's worth mentioning before we go into the news. There was we will do that in the news actually. So let's go to the championship review because this is what it all boils down to as we get close into these last few matches. It was on Friday the 5th, it was Plymouth 1, Rotherham 0, and then we go into the Saturday games.
And
it was quite annoying that Rotherham hold out for quite a while there, and then Actually, no, I don't know if they did. I might be
lying.
That's
actually also, that's confirmed Rotherham's relegation as well, that result.
Yeah. I was like, come on, just hold them to a draw.
Just throw us a bone. Do that. Millers, come on. But no, clearly not.
But Norwich won. The Saturday games went as follows: Norwich 1, Ipswich 0. So Norwich are going off the back of a derby win.
That's the first time they've beaten Ipswich, actually, from in their derbies that they've had across the years for quite some time as well. So that was quite big for them. Yeah.
Blackburn 0, Southampton 1. Could have done with Southampton getting a goal there, really. But it's a draw's not the worst thing in the world. Leicester 2, Birmingham 1. That worried me because Birmingham equalised during that game, and I was like, Leicester, don't do it.
Yeah.
But they got the win. Middlesbrough 2, Swansea 0. Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0. I really thought that was going to be a 0-0. That was going our way. We were going to be
death, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that result is a big result for Huddersfield. Really big result. Watford 0, Preston 0. Stoke 2, West Brom 2. Really disappointed in West Brom there. What are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing? Coventry
Bloody
2.
Brummies. I'm kidding, by the way. That's a joke.
Coventry 2, Leeds 1, Cardiff 1, Hull 3, Sunderland 0, Bristol City 0, and QPR 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. That leaves the table like this. So Leicester, 40 games played, have gone to the top of the table with 88 points. Ipswich Town just behind them on 87 and Leeds them just behind on 86. We look to the bottom now. Rotherham are at the bottom, and as you said, I do believe that's confirmed their relegation with a minus 50 goal difference and 23 points.
Yikes.
Then above them,
not a good showing.
We had a chance of being 22nd, I believe. I might be lying, but we... no, I think I am lying.
I think
I am lying. But no, we are 23rd on 42 points. We are joint on points with Birmingham, who also have 42 points, but they have a better goal difference. Ours is minus 31. Goal difference is going to be a massive thing for us because even if we get a win this weekend and Huddersfield lose, we'll still be behind them on goal difference unless they lose 11-0. Because, or 10-0 and we win 1-0. Should be level. But Huddersfield are now on 43 points. So I'm lying. I saw that as a 5. That's how bad my lenses are. What am I doing?
I was going to say, like, if we win and the majority of those
if we win and
we're
they lose,
out of the relegation zone, basically.
Ignore me. For some reason, the 3 look like a 5 because I've got lights directly in my eyes and I'm an old man. It's because we do these in the morning now. My lenses don't sit for a little while.
Yeah.
And like if I'm looking all the way in, a very small text, just as my excuse. So, yes, Huddersfield are on 43 points, 1 point above the relegation zone, which would have meant I was right. We would have been, okay, cool. I knew I was right about one of those things. Millwall in 20th, 44 points. Plymouth, 19th, 44 points. So, yes, a win. And if there was losses along there, we are out of the relegation zone this weekend. Yeah. It is possible, but we can't rely on other people, as we've seen.
No.
Stoke City, 46 points, 18th. QPR, 46 points. So that's how big that result was because we've kept QPR in that down there at 46. Blackburn as well, 46 points. You could even probably include Swansea in there at 47. So all the way to 15th are still in the relegation fight, you would say.
Oh, yeah. I'd say so.
And that's going to be a big thing because we will have a look. Wednesday, obviously, this weekend play Norwich. This week play Norwich. Let's have a look at the midweek games for... We don't have to look at Rotherham anymore, of course. Sorry, Rotherham. Birmingham have got on Wednesday, so we have to wait a day, which is always awkward. They've got Cardiff, but they're at home. So that'll be a big result to watch for on Wednesday. Huddersfield. Look. Huddersfield have... Okay. They've got Preston tomorrow, same time as us. So the day you're watching this podcast, unless I manage to get it out on Monday night. And if I have, cool. But yeah, the big thing about that I think we need to realise as well is Huddersfield play Ipswich on the last day, who are going to be looking for the title. So that's a big thing in that, and obviously promotion as well. But Preston's a big... Hopefully Preston can get one over on Huddersfield there. But they are starting to raise their head a little bit of, oh no, we're still in this fight. Because their fans were... Apparently they played woefully against Millwall. Absolutely woefully, as they were saying. It was like, we got the result, but there was no... It wasn't a good performance.
I still keep finding it quite funny that the only players that Darren Moore was actually responsible for bringing in are the ones that are performing the best for them, and all the rest of them are not. And yet Darren Moore was getting loads of flack for the team not doing very well. When
he's great at bringing in players, Darren Moore. That's the thing. He finds the right players at the right time. It just takes some time to implement that, especially in the state Huddersfield were in. They were clinging on, and obviously Warnock was just doing the gluing job.
Yeah.
Anyway, Millwall take on Leicester next, which is hopefully it's at the Den, but that's the thing, right? Preston get one over on Huddersfield. Millwall play Leicester and lose. We're not going to... It's going to be difficult to beat Norwich. But if that is the case, if Huddersfield and Millwall lose, we're out of the relegation zone if we win. We could be out of the relegation zone for a short period.
But then we need to keep winning to be able to ensure that. And it's just, it's very tense. It's all very tense.
On paper...
I don't like it.
On paper, you would say that Norwich is probably our toughest fixture in terms of team quality for the next 3 games. But I think, obviously, we've got Stoke and then Blackburn, teams around us, so that's going to be a scrap. That brings they are going to be cup finals. I know we've got 5 games and you do the cup final cliche, every game's a cup final, but they literally are. They're 6-point games.
Yeah.
So you've got those, and then you've got West Brom and Sunderland, which is not an ideal end. We need to have this wrapped up. Unless we want to go into the last 2 games of the season feeling sick. And I think we'll feel sick anyway. But we'll feel a bit more confident. If we get a point tomorrow, we need 3 really, but if we get a point tomorrow and then we beat Stoke and we beat Blackburn, then you would say
it's like
we are closer to safety, because that, and again, that still wouldn't be 50 points. That would be 49 points.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like it. I feel like it's going to end up being a final day scenario where we have to win if we win with stop up, and then...
Don't say that.
Oh, I don't like it. It's going to be a derby situation all over again, isn't it? Oh,
don't say that. I can't be dealing with that.
Not again. Not like 3 years ago? Yeah, it is 3 years ago now. Yeah. 3 calendar years ago.
You'd also be quite awkward. I think quite a few people on my street are Sunderland fans. We play Sunderland on the last day.
Dear.
And I'm going to be very vocal in that game if we win.
If you win, you should hang a Wednesday flag out your window or something. Because, why not?
With no windows, isn't it? But yes. Yeah. It's going to be rough, Jack, basically. Let's move into the news. So, did you hear about Barry Bannon talking about the contract situation? He seems to not be too happy about that. He said the other side, which I don't think we see. You know how hard it is, especially if you play Football Manager. There we go, gaming reference, to get players out of a club, right? Yeah. So you would think from Chansiri,
other clubs have to want them, sort of thing, and it's.
So letting their contracts run down and leaving it in the club's hands can benefit that, because you can go, well, no, we're not keeping you on the wage bill. We can bring more players in. However, Bannon makes a very good point when you're going into the last 5 games of the season with a majority of the squad out of contract. You have players that some of them, I don't think most of them will down tools, because we have got some good heads in this squad.
Yeah.
But players will be worried about getting injured, especially if they've had injuries and they're basically going to try and nurse themselves so they don't get injured. There's that thought in there. And you would hope that they go, you know what, this club's given us the players we've got here, the contracts are running out. This club's given us enough overtime that we'll find another club even if we drop to League One. Let's give it our all for these last 5 games and actually mean it. But in a professional sense, they will be thinking about, if I get injured and I get a big injury, no one's going to pick me up in summer and I'm going to be out of work.
That's exactly what the previous relegation squad were thinking, and wasn't it, really? Because, we even remember there was an interview with a former player once that actually said everyone was just looking after themselves. And it was not great at all. It was a very mercenary mentality in that dressing room when we last went down. And I don't want to see that repeated. I don't think it will be repeated because I think the squad's got a lot more about them this time in terms of personality and all that sort of stuff.
It's why I personally believe resilience if they are your first teamers that are running out, if you're in this situation, it might be one of those things that you can put a contract that, or have a staying up clause in the contract that gets them an extra year.
Yeah.
If you stay up in those situations. But it's not ideal. I don't think Barry Bannon had ever down tools. He said even for him, it's one of those situations where he's coming towards the end of his career anyway, so it's not as relevant for him. But some of the younger players, you think Windass? I think Windass is a personality to actually give it his all anyway, because they will be interested in. But he's had a few injuries. He's out of contract. That's going to be in his head.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, if you think about it, and I think as well, the players that are out of contract this season will have the nous about them to realise if they actually do put their all into this final 5 games, it will make them more attractive to other clubs because they will see how passionately they are bothered about playing for a team in a situation like our club's in right now. And that's the sort of mentality that other teams will want to be part of their squad. I just think it'll be a shame.
I think it'll be a shame for the miraculous season we had last season.
Yeah.
If some of those players that were involved in that bow out on a relegation season when they could have given more, if that is going to creep into it. And that's why I think it probably won't. And I hope it won't.
Yeah. Well, if any of them are hearing this, that's the sort of gauntlet, isn't it? Like, don't think of yourself, think of the club, because if you think of the club, it means that other clubs will actually want you more because they want your sort of mentality in their squads.
You are in a better position you are in a better position being released from a championship club that stayed up than being released from a relegated club.
Exactly.
And I actually think if we get relegated, you won't get a new contract. It's like, oh, well, I'll be able to play better at that level. I'll stay at the club in League One.
Yeah.
I think because Danny's not had many of his players, if he does stay, obviously there's that side, and I think he will stay. I think he should stay. I think it makes sense. But
I don't understand all this talk about Danny leaving in the summer, but anyway, that's probably what we're going to talk about in a minute. I think it's because we're used to it. We get some success and people sod off. That's been Sheffield Wednesday for,
but it's a case of, I think if that happens, he's going to want to bring his own team in. He's going to want players that can fit his system. So
yeah.
Just give it the all. And we changed it against QPR. We brought in the likes of Smith again. We brought in Windass, obviously, who'd been out injured. And we changed it up and we weren't afraid to go for some of the old guard where it mattered. We'll move on now to another story that has kind of been cleared up, but we talk about the old guard and maybe not performing. You seen all this drama around Marvin Johnson?
Yeah, it's so stupid. He's literally had a household full of a sickness bug, and that's why he couldn't play. It wasn't any of this.
I think Danny's choice of words weren't ideal.
Yeah, and that's probably led to a bit of a witch hunt about, who is it that he was talking about then that demanded to play every week.
What he actually said, so for the people that don't know, is in the interview, I might be paraphrasing slightly or slightly misquoting, but I believe he said something along the lines of, he was asked about Marvin Johnson and about why he didn't start. And he said, and he basically was quite vague, and he said, it doesn't matter about, not that he didn't say that, he said something about Marvin exactly, but him not being in the squad, whether it be to illness, he's had some small injury or something like that. And then it's the follow-up line that's important here. I'm talking about, I'm more committed to talk about the players that are here and showing the right attitude and commitment to the club. And I don't know if they were two different sentences that he needed to put a full stop in.
Yeah.
Because what it makes it sound like is, Marvin's not showing the right attitude, is he really? Because he is also out of contract, I believe, isn't he? So if he's out of contract...
we don't know. I don't think we know about that, because he did sign a new deal, actually, in the summer. He was the first one to actually sign a new deal.
Of course he did.
But we don't know if it actually is a 1 year or 2 year or...
with an option,
I believe,
or something like that.
I think I saw somewhere it might be a 2 year, but it's not been really put out there very much. So
this is why we need Jake, because Jake's always in on the contract. That man.
Yeah.
But we've got his himself and his partner come out and go, slight illness, let's not believe all of this. And he says he's fully committed. And you know what? It's because fans were turning and saying if it is true and he is down in tools, it would be an absolute slap in the face of all of us who stuck by him when Xisco throws him out, which is why I couldn't see it. And I don't want to see it as well. So let's hope.
And I know it's like not a news article, but his other half on X, formerly known as Twitter, has come out and said, actually, the whole household has come down with a sickness bug, Marvin included. And so he was basically putting being a dad first over football. And that's why he wasn't in the squad. And he himself as well has come out and said that he's fully committed, and he always is, with a couple of owl.
Well, that's the line, isn't it? Because actually, you could actually think if there is something in that Danny statement, and Danny's like, well, there is an attitude there, and they need to be fully committed, and your commitment's divided when you're caring for your family. That's why you've got the line of a human and a footballer. Whereas me, with my family, I don't care what job I had. If there was something that I needed to be there for my family, you can sod off, I'm being there, right? Yeah. Whereas that's why I wouldn't make a very good footballer. I have that ruthless edge in terms of like, I want my career, I want this, I want to work really, really hard, but I will drop everything if my family need it. And I think that's the line that is difficult for footballers, because if you do that, you aren't seen in the same way.
Yeah.
And I do think that's a sacrifice they have to make. I personally wouldn't be willing to make that. So if he's showing a bit of a difference on there,
But again, we also know that English is not Danny's first language, and he's not always perfect at expressing himself in English. And we've seen that before. So maybe it might have been some error in translation as well. And everybody sort of forgets that like German is his first language, and the way that Danny speaks sometimes, you can tell that it's a bit like, and I hate to bring his name up, but Joss. Do you remember Joss? He used to sort of, rather than say the English grammar, he used to just take the German and Dutch grammar that he was so used to speaking back in Germany and the Netherlands and everything, and he used to literally just swap the vocabulary to English but still say the very Germanic sentence structure and way of saying things. And maybe Danny sometimes does the same thing, so it comes across a bit too like blunt or something like that, because he's just taking the German phrase and swapping the words into English rather than like changing it to a English grammatical sentence, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. A lot can get lost in translation.
Sometimes it's a bit of a Yeah, so there is an element of that could be coming into play as well. So I just don't want to cause some sort of anti-Danny controversy, but if he's being too brutal and too, sod your family, a football teenager or anything like that.
I don't think that. It wouldn't be what I was implying as well. I know you're not saying it was, and things like that, but it's a case of...
Because I've seen a bit of that online as well, and I don't think that that's right, personally.
Oh, mate, I've managed to stay away for the past week or so, and it's getting away from the cesspool. It's quite nice. But yeah, I'll tell you what, let's wrap up the news section with a story that you are going to lead, this QPR mascot thing, just because we've played them and it happened just before our game or something.
And this is just such a fluff piece, right? But it's just so funny because it happened right before we kicked off with QPR. And this is from goal.com, and it goes into the details of what happened. And so the QPR mascot, Jude the cat, well, that's the name of the mascot, but the person who is in the Jude the mascot suit was sacked right before the kickoff because he'd had a string of warnings through several match days to stop flirting with female fans. But he kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it.
You see, it's funny to hear, but it's actually really sodding creepy.
It's actually really bad. But it's funny because it caught me so off guard.
Yeah.
And I was just like, because harassment is never funny. That's awful. And it was effectively what this Mascot guy was doing was harassing all of these female fans on match days. And I'm just, it's also so good that they've immediately done something about it and they've just dismissed him there.
Well, it's a safe space. I'm sorry, but how much of a wrong-un do you have to be? I know it was like, it's not like, it probably wasn't the kids and things like that, but a mascot that's there for kids and stuff, well, you wouldn't become a mascot to flirt. It's weird. Don't like it.
I don't get it. I see it like all over social media though as well of like people just being really inappropriate at the wrong times and not respecting other people's boundaries and stuff. And I don't get it. But then I am a bit sheltered in that regard because I would never dream of ever harassing anybody. Yeah. And so I kind of don't I can't understand in my head why other people would do this or why do you know? Because my head isn't wired that way. I can't relate. I can't remotely say, oh, it might be because of this, that, and the other. I don't get it. Like, why be such a degenerate like this when, like you say, the bloody mascots are there to entertain the kids? They're not there to pick up girls. It's not a bloody nightclub. It's not a bloody cocktail bar. It's not singles night on a speed dating thing.
You know, it's one of the. It's very difficult, sort of it is very difficult to line of sort of
yeah.
Or back in the day, you'd meet a nice girl in a coffee shop and you'd give her your number and sort of thing and things like that. And that's obviously not acceptable the way things go now. There is that sort of line as if two people are attracted to each other, you can usually tell. But I actually think there's a lot of people who don't have the line and they can't actually tell it and they're getting the wrong signals and they go straight in. And it's one of those things you've got, I think even if you feel like, oh, there's some chemistry between me and this person, if you are in an inappropriate place, this is just general, by the way, not as a bloody mascot for a football team. You don't do it in a place such as that. It's one of those things where it has to be a more built process over time. And I think we're in a position in modern society where it's a lot easier for you to find people because there is people that state their intentions on dating apps, etc. So use them.
I just can't get my head around what they must have been thinking to be just flirting. I don't you're there to do a job. I don't get anyway. Yeah, I just thought it was really, really
it's a bit
weird,
isn't it? Yeah,
and I just thought it's worth talking about because, we see a lot of harassment going up in football and everything, and particularly there's a lot of the female members of the Wednesday fan base even that get abused, with social media posts and stuff for having the same exact opinions as anyone else that is a bloke who would get a lot of respect for these opinions. And I just think it's worth bringing up because it's shambolic.
The one thing I'll say as well is that, very present, and we need to talk. Yeah. I just think the abuse in football in general is also terrible because, I remember when I first started doing content, people would look past that and just go for your appearance, go for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mental place. I think football is just it breeds so much positivity, but it also breeds so it's got so much banter in it that people don't know the line of banter, and then they'll go to a point of actually. I hate it when I see somebody being ripped apart just for the way they look or something, and they've just been going about minding their business and something like that. And it goes too far the other way sometimes. And anyway, just be good to each other is how we will wrap that section of the news up.
Don't harass people, for God's sake.
Before we see you again, we play Norwich. How do you feel about Norwich?
It makes me nervous. Just because I've got the same kind of... I see Norwich this season in the same way that I see Coventry. And we obviously know what has happened against Coventry. And I'm a bit concerned that a repeat of the more than 3-goal loss may happen again. But hopefully not, because I think we've shown against QPR that we actually can go to quite a scrappy defensive thing. And I think they possibly, touch wood, as the saying goes, have learned their lesson against Middlesbrough to actually listen to what the hell Danny is telling them to do. Because he was very positive after that QPR game that actually we should listen to Danny's instructions. Whereas against Middlesbrough, you could see him on the sidelines and everything. He was livid. He was screaming. They were ignoring everything that he was telling them to do. And I think if they actually listen to the game plan and stick to the game plan, then actually we might get an okay result against Norwich. But I mean, the problem is,
right,
probability percentage.
They are trying to push themselves into the playoffs, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we'll talk about the percentages, and we'll go into detail like that in a second. But they are sixth. They've played 41. Coventry have only played 40. Right. So Coventry win their game in hand. They're a point behind them. Norwich need to pile on the pressure. Their form coming into this is 3 wins on the bounce, a loss, then a win. So they've bounced back, and they bounced back against Ipswich. Norwich are the hardest fixture probably we have. Well, they are. They are just the hardest fixture we have got for the rest of the season. If we're going to lose anywhere on paper, it is against Norwich.
Yeah.
And they've got goals across the team. Like Gabriel, he's got 11 goals, 11 assists this season. They've got John Rowe, who's got 12 goals. They've got Josh Sargent, who's got 14 goals. They've got players chipping in, like they've got Fascinach, who's got 6 goals, and Ashley Barnes, who's got 6 goals. They've got goals around this team. They're a good side, and that's why they are looking at the right end of the table, pushing for the playoffs. So we have to be careful.
It's a bit like us back in the Carlos era, really.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you want to make a Wednesday comparison, it's
the good thing is the good thing is potentially for us is their away record isn't as good. So they've got 47 points at home, 20 points away. They've won 5 away, drawn 5, and lost 10. So if we can shore it up at home, then we can get a point. We can get something from this game. You know, their away record. If we were playing them away, I'd be like, right, we're in trouble because they've won 15 games at home. So, you know, they've.
I'm basically hoping for a point at home against Norwich and then a win against Blackburn and Stoke. And then hopefully
7 points would be a good haul from all of that.
That's what I want to be happening. Yeah.
Because that will put us on 49 points going into the last 2 games of the season. You nick a point from one of them, you get 50, but obviously you'd be going for a bigger thing. And the Sunderland won't have anything to play for at the end of the season. So,
exactly. So do us a favour, lads. Come on. You know, like, throw us a bone, Sunderland, please.
Please do. You kept us in League One for another season, so can you just send us back?
We caused a national upset when we beat media darlings Newcastle, your direct rivals. So, you know, you need to thank us somehow. You know, this is the ideal opportunity.
So Stoke play Swansea tomorrow, and then obviously they play us on Saturday. So before you hear from us next, there will be Stoke to come. That's the big 6-pointer as well, right? Because that's where everything shifts. We can actually directly affect the teams around us, which is when you are going to feel even more sick going into the games. Now, we play Stoke at home. So we have got, I guess the good thing out of our next 5 matches, 3 of them are at home. We only play Blackburn and Sunderland away. We've got Stoke, who it doesn't really matter. That's the one thing. Home advantage will be good for us, but they have been so inconsistent. They've got 24 points at home and 22 points away. They've got 6 wins away and home. They've got 1 more loss away, but that's the difference there. So I'm very worried about this. They don't really have an out-and-out goal scorer. They've got, I think it's Vidigal, who's got 6.
Yeah.
And he does appear to be their top goal scorer. So, what do you think going into Stoke?
They've not had very great form all season. Really, they've not particularly. They didn't really kick on under Schumacher after they got him from Plymouth, and I think that was probably going to be the key. A lot of people thought that would be really like their ignition point, their starting point, and it didn't work out at all. And I just sort of think. It's a difficult one because at this stage of the season, I don't want to put any expectations on anything, really, because it's all so tense. And if you put your expectations on something and that doesn't happen, it feels even worse. But when you go into it with no expectation, then you're just happy for any good kind of result. But I do think
it needs to be a win. It just needs to be. That's the thing. We're in a situation where we need to pull it out. We need to.
I didn't really want to say it, but yes.
Yeah. We do. We're still in the relegation zone. We have had multiple opportunities to pull ourselves out of the relegation zone. We haven't done it. It needs to happen. The players need to step up. Without Jan Perveda, we lose a creative spark.
Yeah.
If Gassama can play like he's been playing, we keep a creative spark. The players have just got to be up for it. Sod this keeping yourself fit for a new club to come in. You're playing for our club. You have a chance to keep us up, which basically will be massive for Sheffield Wednesday going forward.
Yeah.
Because staying in the Championship and rebuilding in the Championship is a much better position than dropping back down and having to strip it all out again, bringing in older players because you know they can do it in League One, and then having the same situation when you come back up.
Yeah,
if you come back up. I think League One will be a bit trickier next year as well because, here's the thing though, mate. The reason I don't want to get relegated, and as much as I actually quite like it and I like the documentary, you know Wrexham are going to go up and they'll be in League One.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to see what Hillsborough on Disney Plus and all that stuff, but like, just
we can have them in the cup, not in League One. But yes, that is what I have got for. That's all I've got for this week's episode of Talking Wednesday. Anything to add, Jack?
I actually just wanted to give a special little shout out and mention and all the rest of it to Lee around the grounds because he's having a bit of a tough time at the moment. There's actually someone from the various football communities, the Football League watching communities, that's actually been harassing him. They've been contacting his family members, non-stop trying to contact him, bothering him, like email after email after email. And it's just more of a general word of, we're human beings too. Please understand that human beings need their privacy, no matter if we're putting ourselves out here on the internet and all that sort of thing. And naturally, what we produce will naturally come under scrutiny or whatever else. And we're putting ourselves out there for scrutiny to naturally occur. But we're not putting ourselves out there to get bombarded and harassed and made almost bullied off of the platforms that we're trying to create our own space on. And the way that this person has continually been bombarding Lee and bombarding all of his family members to get his contact information and get this, that, and the other is just not on. It's not on at all. And it's actually, and Lee won't mind me saying this because he said it publicly as well on other podcasts that he's been on, that it's really given his head a wobble. And considering how much everyone collectively is loving his content and is wanting to see him succeed, it's really like put a bit of a dent in his confidence at the moment. And I just wanted to come out and just show support to him because he's a really good bloke. He's a really great bloke. And I hate that somebody from this, like, just a viewer has ended up making him feel like this when we've both met him at Wembley and he's a great bloke. And I hate that someone's made him feel like this about his content and made him a bit like nervous about everything when he's doing so well and he's making such great content. And just please stop. Don't harass people. Don't harass these people that you like to watch on YouTube or listen to their podcasts or whatever else, because we're human beings too, you know? And I just wanted to put that in at the end. And yeah
that's fine.
I don't know if you've got any words on that.
I only heard about the situation literally just before we started the podcast. But Lee, obviously, it's never a nice situation to be harassed by anyone. I don't know too many details on it, but I'm sure you know more. But if he is being harassed completely, as you say, like, just pack it in. Like, there's no need, is there? So
and the person was given plenty of warnings to stop and just ignored them and continued as well. So, and it's just, It even ties in slightly to that mascot situation that we were talking about. Like when someone says no and feels uncomfortable, then stop.
But yeah, just be good to everybody. Okay, we don't need to, even if it's positive, even if you think it's positive, if you feel like you're probably messaging someone too much and they are not responding, or they have asked you not to message them, there's probably a good reason for that. And family members don't sign up to anything. So yeah, exactly. As soon as you mentioned family members there, I was like, yeah, some people just don't know the boundaries, do they? So, but yes.
No.
Take care, guys. And we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See you soon.